It is an awesome setting. The Big House, Michigan Stadium, on a spectacular September afternoon. Today filled well beyond the capacity of 106,000 as Michigan takes the field, ready to renew one of college football's greatest rivalries. The Wolverines open with a rousing home win last Saturday here at the Big House against Western Michigan. And spirits are high. An amaze out has been called for, and the fans have delivered, dressed in yellow throughout the Big House. And today they host the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. They've made the 3-hour drive up from South Bend off their opening win in impressive fashion last week over Nevada, 35-0. It's a rivalry that dates back to 1887. Notre Dame ranked number 18 this week against Michigan.
What a great kick. He had great poise. He handles the scene very, very well. The game is not too big for him. He thinks he belongs here and he's having his chance. The ball comes out quick. He sees things very well, but he's going to need help. He's going to need help in the running game, and today that's going to fall on the shoulders of Brandon Minor. Now, Minor is a big physical guy. He's got to be able to run through tackles. He's got to run through arm tackles. He has to be able to create to help Forcier and take a little pressure off him.
That Michigan offense expects a lot of blitzes today from an aggressive Notre Dame defense. Beautiful day, a great rivalry. The kickoff right after this. And we're back live inside the Big House. Getting ready for kickoff. Notre Dame and Michigan, as we mentioned, by percentage, they are 1 and 2 all time. And in terms of wins, Texas is in between Michigan's 873 and Notre Dame's 832. Texas with one more win than the Fighting Irish. Great. And a lot of the students have made their way into the Big House today for this one on a glorious day for football. Not a cloud in the sky overhead. 74 degrees. Very comfortable, very little breeze. High UV index today. Hopefully the folks came out armed with sunblock. Just perfect conditions as Notre Dame and Michigan get together again. Rich Rodriguez and the Wolverines lost last year in South Bend in his first Notre Dame Michigan game. They committed 6 turnovers. That was the big issue. In his second season, the rocky first year, as he took over for Lloyd Carr, dealt with some adversity leading into this season. But the team rallied around him last week, and Charlie Weiss on the hot seat as well, trying to improve on the 7-6 season last year, 3-9 the year before that. But 18 starters back this year for Notre Dame, 10 of them on offense. And Charlie believes he has his best team in his 5 years at Notre Dame.
He also believes he has a pretty good kick returner in Theo Riddick, the freshman, who's back deep. They want to get the ball in his hands as much as they can.
Brian Wright will kick off for Michigan. The Wolverines won the toss and deferred, so Notre Dame will receive. Theo Riddick back there with Barry Gallup Jr. And we are underway. A booming kick by Wright about 3 yards deep in the end zone. And Riddick started out, and then the true freshman took a knee with some advice offered by Barry Gallup Jr. Let's take a look now at the impact players for Notre Dame on offense.
You're going to take a look at Michael Floyd. He had a big week a week ago, and they're going to need him to use his speed on the outside against this Michigan defense today as well. On the other side, Golden Tate, excellent with the ball in his hands. You have to make sure you tackle him, and then if they get covered on the outside, the middle of that field will get opened up by this tight end Kyle Rudolph, who really has some good hands.
They open with 1 back and 4 receivers. Clausen under center. Armando Allen is the running back. And he gets the call, trying to run around left end, and he gets nothing. Stacked up by Stevie Brown. He's playing a hybrid position this year, combination of safety and linebacker, and we check out Michigan's impact players on defense.
Now you're going to have to start up front, and that's going to be Brandon Graham. Graham's got to play a good game. He has got to get pressure because they're going to throw the ball, but they're going to get to this guy right here, Stevie Brown. You saw him make the first tackle. Not a big guy, but they'll test him. Donovan Warren, the corner, he's got to match up outside, speed for speed. Expect to see a lot of him.
They'll have a good battle all day with Floyd and Tate. Gain of 1 on first down. And on the delay, a big hole. Armando Allen rips through all the way out to the 45-yard line. 24 yards on the run for Armando Allen, the junior from Opa-locka, Florida.
Well, they just spread him out, and then they just get a nice block right there inside. Tackle comes down, pins Van Bergen. Van Bergen tries to take an inside move and opens it wide up.
Amazingly, that's the longest run of Allen's career on his 237th career carry. That was a 24-yard run. His previous long run was only 21 yards. They're looking for more long runs from him this year. They say he has a second gear he hasn't demonstrated in prior seasons. Good catch by the tight end Rudolph. Again, Charlie Weiss spread the formation with receivers. That's good for a 6-yard gain. And Matt, Charlie Weiss is back calling the plays this year, and he relishes that role. That's really what he's best at, a lot of people
and
believe.
He feels very comfortable doing it, and he feels like he's back in control on the sidelines, and that's important for him. But also important for this Notre Dame offense is going to be the play of their offensive line. They have a distinct size advantage, and they have to use that to their advantage.
With Weiss calling the plays last week, great balance between the run and pass. They come out throwing on second down, and Rudolph had a step on the defender, and it was too high. Troy Woolfolk, the safety, had the coverage.
Woolfolk can run, but it's not going to matter if they start to grind it out. You take a good look at this offensive line. It's a big physical group. The Michigan front seven is not a big group, and they're going to have to rely on a lot of movement, and Greg Robinson, their defensive coordinator, will provide that. But what you're seeing right now out of Notre Dame is Charlie Weiss is really mixing it up. They come again in a 5-wide set.
3rd down and 4. Clausen, quick toss to Rudolph. He breaks a tackle, breaks another, and is finally ankle tackled at the 25-yard line by Mike Williams.
Mike Williams on the stop. First down, Notre Dame.
Well, you're seeing what Charlie Weiss is doing. He's spreading everybody out. And then what that does, it allows him inside to see what the protections are right here. Okay, and then it's real simple. All he's waiting, everybody's sitting back. He's just going to wait for Rudolph to come back inside. Remember, it's 3rd and 4. He knows he has the easy throw, and Rudolph turns into something bigger.
Obi Azay, their leading tackler last year, missed the tackle. First down, Notre Dame. Another impressive opening drive. The quick toss to Duval Kamara. He's their 3rd wide receiver, and it looks like he has another first down at the 15-yard line. Troy Woolfolk made the tackle.
Woolfolk makes the tackle, but nice job on the outside by Golden Tate in terms of blocking. And they'll do this. That's one of the things you don't see. You know, you hear about all the big plays down the field and the catches, but both Tate and Floyd, they'll block. And Tate got himself a nice block that time.
This is an offense that remains in rhythm. They scored 5 touchdowns on their first 6 possessions last week in the rout of Nevada. The toss back to Armando Allen with blockers in front. And he bangs down near the 11-yard line. Obi Azay credited with the tackle.
Michigan defensively, Michigan, like we said, is not very big. Now remember, their defensive coordinator is Greg Robinson, who a year ago was at Syracuse as the head coach and had a very good game plan against this Notre Dame team. Now, he's got better personnel, but right now, Charlie Weiss is keeping everybody off balance. I mean, they're giving different sets, multiple personnel groups, and you're forced to have to adjust.
2nd and 5. Opening drive of the game. Notre Dame driving impressively. Play action pass for Clausen with all day to throw. End zone incomplete. Looking for Golden Tate with Donovan Warren in coverage.
You know, Sean, you and I talked at the start about where exactly Jimmy Clausen is. And one of the things that you saw from a year ago was his ability to handle the pocket better than it was a year ago, and that's important. And so a lot of times he just get out of there and start to run. He's more comfortable sitting in the pocket and just taking his reads.
25 TD passes, about 17 interceptions last year. Empty backfield, 5 receivers on 3rd and 5. Quarterback draw, and Clausen is stuffed at the line of scrimmage by Brandon Graham. He's the best player on that Michigan defense. Charlie Weiss said yesterday, number 55 can ruin the game for us. He ended that drive with a big play.
Well, they came on a stunt, and so you can credit Greg Robinson on the call, and then also go back to Brandon Graham. Now, Brandon Graham is one of the guys we talked about at the start. He has got to play big for them.
First career field goal attempt for the true freshman, Nick Tausch, out of Plano, Texas. He was perfect on his extra points last week, 5 for 5 against Nevada. And that kick is no good. Wide right from 28 yards.
Sean, I'm not much of a duffer, but it looks like he pushed this one. That's your game.
That's my tee shot right there, too. Wide right, 69-yard drive, no points. And that's life with a freshman kicker. Tausch is a great talent out of Jesuit in the Dallas, Texas area. He beat out a junior, Brandon Walker, to win the kicker's job in the preseason. So now Tate Forcier in the Michigan offense, and he comes out slinging. Finds his tight end, Kevin Koger, for 11 yards and a first down.
Well, you mentioned Forcier right from the start coming out slinging. He's going to have to do that, but he's going to have to be able to handle pressure. And in order to handle that, he's got to get the ball into the hands of Brandon Miner, who's a big physical runner, and they really like him. The other part of this is Greg Matthews, a senior receiver outside, only had 2 catches a week ago, has to come up bigger today.
Carlos Brown starts at running back and gets nothing, a loss of a yard. And there's that talented freshman about whom Holly Rowe is speaking, Manti Te'o, the most highly recruited defensive player in the country last year out of Hawaii.
Speaking of him, he's an impact player, and why he has great instincts. And that allows him to put Brian Smith back in the middle. He's got great leadership skills and calls everything. Kyle McCarthy, the safety, the quarterback back there, leading tackler, always active.
And a school record 110 tackles last year for a defensive back. Forcier is short throws. Kevin Koger again, the sophomore from Toledo. We're hoping to get the tight ends more involved in the offense this year. Forcier is a true freshman out of San Diego. His brother Jason played here for a couple of years behind Chad Henne. Realized he wasn't going to beat Henne out, transferred to Stanford. And brother Chris is now at Furman as a transfer quarterback from UCLA. 3rd down and 8. And a blitz, and Forcier gets away from it. He has excellent feet. And he could not get away from the second tackler, Darius Fleming. Ran him down after a short gain. They'll mark the ball near the 35-yard line. And it'll be 4th down and about 6. Actually going to put it back on the 34, 4th and 7.
Sean, we talked about Greg Robinson and mixing things up, but John Tenuta, defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, is the same type of guy, and he's going to bring a lot of people. And he did that time. As his numbers off the left side, they kept him 3, they brought 4, forced him outside. The good news was Forcier handles things very, very well.
Remarkably poised. Zoltan Mesko, a short punt by his standards. Golden Tate watched it bounce. And the Wolverines downed it at the 28-yard line. Stevie Brown downed it. Each team has had it once. No scores. Still early in the first quarter. Here at the Big House. Well, they asked for a maize out and they got it. What a spectacular scene. The fans dressed in the maize. Maize and blue of Michigan. No scores. They host Notre Dame, a team looking for continued improvement on offense, with Charlie Weiss calling the plays. Hard to believe, but Notre Dame in 2007 was the worst offensive team in the country. Only 242 yards per game. They went 3-9. Last year they were the most improved team in total offense. Moved up to the middle of the pack, improved by 113 yards a game, but still plenty of room for improvement. Clausen throws. Caught. Short gain of about 5. Golden Tate the reception. Donovan Warren in coverage. Charlie Weiss has taken over the play calling. He said he had been involved the last couple of years, sometimes calling plays, often suggesting plays, but he hadn't been in all the offensive meetings, hadn't been looking at all the film. Now he is the offensive coordinator. He does everything that he used to do when he was the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots.
That's what he does best. I mean, he's in control right now.
It says it adds about 3 hours of work a day on top of the head coaching responsibilities. Armando Allen, the ball carrier, and Ryan Van Bergen made the tackle.
And take a look at that Michigan defense. Like we said earlier, they're not a real big defensive front. They're just going across the front. You know, Brandon Graham, he's about 270 pounds. Van Bergen's, he's right around the 65 mark. And then they get small. And Mike Martin is the guy inside who has to control everything inside. He's a big physical kid. He's the only guy who has any kind of size at around 295.
3rd down and 2. And now 2 tight ends on the field for Notre Dame. Giving Michigan a lot of formations here early. Clausen under duress, throws it away.
Sean, that was not good. That's what you and I were talking about on the front end of this. Because a week ago against Nevada, there's not a lot of pressure. But what you're going to see right here, Williams comes clean off a blitz off the edge, and he just heaves this thing up. That's not good. That's a step back. You can't do that.
So a 3 and out after the first drive for Notre Dame went 69 yards and ended with a missed field goal. Here's Eric Most, the senior punter from Roswell, Georgia, who doubles as a pitcher on Notre Dame's baseball team. He was second team All Big East a year ago. High booming punt and a fair catch made by Greg Matthews at the 21. 43-yard punt and no return and no score as Michigan goes on offense for the second time after this. Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Holly Rowe, delighted to be at Michigan Stadium and happy to have you with us. Second possession for Michigan on their own 21 midway through the first quarter. Forcier showing his running ability. Gain of 8. Credit Kyle McCarthy with the tackle.
And we talked about McCarthy. We talked about Forcier, and Forcier has himself a good feel for the game. And that's just a simple read off the defensive end. He sees him go down inside. He comes up.
On 2nd and 2, the quick throw and catch. There's a flag down as Kelvin Grady was taken down quickly by Sergio Brown. Loss on the play if it stands. Bill Lamagna, the referee. Officials are from the Big Ten.
It looked like they had a hold on the outside. It looked like Stoneham lined up. They were just going to go with a quick bubble screen, and they tried to get into their guys too quick. Great job by the defense of Notre Dame to react.
Illegal block in the back. 86. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
And they do accept the penalty against Kevin Koger. Well, Notre Dame only had 3 penalties last week, but Charlie Weiss didn't like one of the holding calls against his team. Long throw, and it's incomplete. Daryl Stoneham was open. Coverage from Rashawn McNeil, but Stoneham did not make the catch, and that's the position where they're still a little thin, is at wide receiver.
Yeah, they're a little beat up with Junior Hemingway out, but he throws it where he has to throw it. Good job by Stoneham of giving himself and the quarterback some room to throw between he and the sideline. And of course, Forcier throws it on the outside.
Junior Hemingway had 5 catches last week for 103 yards, is out of action this week with an ankle injury. And there's a catch in traffic. What a play by Greg Matthews. Up in the air to make the catch with Darren Walls nearby. 40-yard gain.
Well, it's not going to happen if they don't pick up the blitz on the front side. Nice job of doing protection. And then Matthews, who we talked about at the start of the game, who has to have a big game. This is how you have a big play. Go right over the top, pull that sucker in with one hand. But it starts with this right there. Very well done by the Michigan offensive line.
And now the inside handoff, a flag down, thrown where you would expect another holding call. Brandon Minor straight ahead. He didn't play at all last week because of an ankle injury suffered in the preseason.
Holding. 71 offense. 10 yards previous spot. First down.
Mark Ortman, the left tackle, called for holding. Negates a first down run from Minor. Michigan and Notre Dame. The Wolverines have won 4 of the last 5 played here. Notre Dame won at home in South Bend in this rivalry last year. Battle of 2 of the winningest programs in the history of college football, with Texas in between on the all-time win list. A screen to Carlos Brown. He gets it back across midfield to the 47-yard line, where Brian Smith made the tackle.
And Sean, if you go back a year ago with this Michigan offense, they put some yards on the Notre Dame defense, but the flag killed them. And so far today, you know, they have two big flags already.
The last year in the loss at Notre Dame, Michigan lost 4 fumbles and had 2 interceptions, 6 turnovers. You're never going to win when you do that. Quick throw and great effort after the catch. Darryl Stoneham lunges for an extra yard or 2 to the 38. Taken down by Darren Walls, the senior cornerback from Pittsburgh, who missed last season due to personal reasons after he was a starter 2 years ago for Notre Dame.
Talking to Rich Rodriguez, he's talking about Darryl Stoneham. They like this kid. They like his ability with the ball in his hand. You could see that at the end of the play. He's a strong kid. Not going to go down very easy.
Didn't have a catch last week. Forcier 5 out of 6 passing as a man wide open, and it is caught. And he stepped out of bounds back at the 26-yard line. Carlos Brown out of the backfield. Might have taken it the distance if the throw had been a little more accurate, at least caught him in stride. Credit Harrison Smith with forcing him out of bounds, but it was really the throw that took him out of bounds.
Now, Forcier sees it right away. That's the most important part.
Throw and then the juggle. Got him dancing along the sideline. Brandon Minor as they come quickly to the line. Got 2 to the 24. And Michigan driving, looking for the first score of the game as we tick down to 5 minutes left in the first quarter.
The other part we don't talk about with this Michigan offense, it's a hurry-up offense, and they like to work the pace. And especially at the beginning of the game, Rich Rodriguez is looking at that defense to see if they start to suck air. Then they're going to quicken the pace even more.
And they'll line up, then look to the sideline. Forcier. Rich Rodriguez says we handle it pre-snap. Then he has decisions to make post-snap. He handed it off to Minor. Good decision. He's inside the 5 and down at the 2.
Well blocked, well read, and a big play for Michigan. You can see every hat on a hat, and then Minor, all he has to do is just find the crack. We talked about him on the front end about having to be an impact player. That's the kind of guy he is. He's a big, powerful kid. He's got great vision, picks his holes very easily.
Senior from Richmond, Virginia. First and goal after a 22-yard run. Minor again stood up at the goal line. Touchdown!
You talked about power. Watch the second effort. Over the top, he's hit. Now watch him turn. Boom, right there. He knows where that goal line is, and his strength takes him in.
And Minor bothered after wrist surgery last year. Said he couldn't lift weights, couldn't stiff arm anybody. Had trouble, lost 3 fumbles last year. Was a very frustrating year personally and for the team. He's healthier, and it's made a big difference. Jason Olisnovich kicked the extra point. 9 plays, 79 yards. Michigan first on the board.
Best offensive line in all of college football.
Ryan Wright kicks off. Here's Barry Gallup Jr. Son of the terrific coach Barry Gallup. Longtime member of the staff at Boston College. Barry Jr. tripped up at the 27. We check. All right, John, thank you. And here's a big gainer on 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. Armando Allen Said he wanted to break more long runs this season. He's done it already today. That's good for 14 out to the 41, first down.
Well, when you have some blocks up front like you have right here, Armando Allen could have a big game. And all they're going to do, they caught him in a stunt. You see everybody's slanting this way. Allen just uses his eyes, comes off of San Floyd, the offensive lineman, and boom, big play.
High carries 48 yards already for Armando Allen, averaging just under 10 per rush. Empty backfield. Lawson, good catch on a high throw. Golden Tate with a run after the catch to the Michigan 45 and another first down with 3.5 to go in the first quarter.
Remember at the start of the game we talked about Golden Tate with the ball in his hands. He's exceptional. He is a tough runner. He's got great feet. He's like a running back once the ball's in his hand. He has good speed, not great speed, not game-making speed. That guy's a player.
He's a junior. Also a baseball player. He had a big game against Michigan last year. 4 catches for 127 and a touchdown. Back to the run with Allen. Trying the middle this time. And a good sturdy tackle by Jonas Mouton, the linebacker. Second leading tackler a year ago as a sophomore. He's from Los Angeles.
Sean, you got to take a good look right here. This is what Charlie Weiss is looking at. And he's telling Jimmy Clausen, you see those safeties back there deep. That means we win the numbers game up here. And so as long as you have your safeties back there, they're going to run the football at them. Take advantage of that big offensive line against a smaller defensive front. Now they're dropping down.
3 wide receivers. Allen the lone back. Play action pass. They're setting up a screen, and it is beautifully set up. Armando Allen down the far sideline, all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Greg Robinson rolled the dice a little bit. He brought some pressure. That safety came down and he came on the blitz, and they got behind everything, and it was just down the left sideline.
Michigan has called a timeout. 41-yard touchdown
Michigan.
pass.
First time.
Four plays to score for Notre Dame to go to 73 yards. Well, Rich Rodriguez called a timeout just before the extra point. He wanted the replay booth to take a look at the replay of the touchdown. He thought Armando Allen went out of bounds along the far sideline near the 20-yard line.
He's got some pretty good eyes from that far sideline.
Called by Charlie Weiss and beautifully executed by the Irish.
Following the review, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 22-yard line.
Yep, size 12 gets you every time.
Ball, first down. Clock operator, please reset the game clock. 2:26. 2:26 on the game clock.
Well, regardless whether he is in or out, it's a big play, and right now Charlie Weiss is doing a good job of keeping things mixed up.
Yeah, all right, here's the question. Yeah, I guess you could say definitively, could you? He stepped on the line. I still don't think that's clear, but
sure he would. That's the one thing these coaches understand. They make the call, you go with it, and you play on.
We're told after some miscommunication from the field that was not a coach's challenge, but they did take advantage of the time during that Michigan timeout to look at the replay and ultimately change the call. So it's 1st and 10 from the 22. Here's Theo Riddick, the speedy freshman, snapped up by Stevie Brown. No gain. Charlie Weiss said last night when Theo Riddick's in there, we're going to give him the ball. He's in there to carry it with a great skill set.
And he's got some great quicks. They want to get the ball in his hands, and they want to try to go after Stevie Brown. You can see him right there, number 3. He's not a real big guy. Talked to him yesterday. He's just maybe about 207 pounds or so. He was a safety. They dropped him down, but he's got good instincts and runs very, very well. He's good in space.
They make comparisons to Troy Polamalu, Bob Sanders, guys who are primarily safeties but spend a lot of time up around the line of scrimmage helping in the run. They do a good job in coverage as well. Clausen wants timeout. Instead of the touchdown, they got a 19-yard gain on the screen pass out of the 22, and then nothing on the run for Riddick. Second down for Charlie Weis when we come back. It's a new structure on the far side of the field. They have a similar one on the near side. And they're also tilted toward the playing field, almost as if to ricochet the noise back down toward the field.
Not as if.
Second down and 10. Clausen steps up on target to Armando Allen, and a good open field tackle by Donovan Warren. And that was another example, Matt, of what you were talking about. Exactly. Charlie Weis talks about Clausen's improvement in the pocket. He doesn't take off now. He just takes a step or two to find a better place, a la Tom Brady or Dan Marino.
You know, when you get a guy who handles that and can handle the pocket, you don't have to be a great runner. You have to be moving all over the place. You have your space. You own your space. He's gotten better at it.
3rd and 5. Notre Dame at the Michigan 17. Clausen one-on-one and too far. Michael Floyd with Boubacar Sissoko covering.
It's a nice simple read for the quarterback. Go to the 2 receiver side. You can watch the safety dropping down. You'll see him coming up in here. And then all he's going to do is just go. Now, nice job by Sissoko. Reads it perfectly. You see the cross. He just gets deep. He had it.
So here's Tausch, the freshman. Missed his first collegiate field goal attempt from 28 yards wide right. This one a 34-yarder. Eric Most is the holder. He's the punter. Gordon Coward snaps. And that one is good. So another good Notre Dame drive. Ends in 3 points. They thought they had 7. Replay review. Took the touchdown down and spotted the ball at the 22-yard line. They wind up with 3. And it's a 7-3 Michigan lead in the final minute of a very entertaining first quarter with both teams over 100 yards of offense. Time now to take a look at our X Factor, brought to you by the DBB X-Men Origins Wolverines. Seems a fitting sponsor here in Michigan.
Well, you take a look at the Michigan Wolverines. There's another freshman quarterback who's right behind Forcier, and that right there is Denard Robinson. Now, this guy is magic with his feet. He came in a little late, a little bit behind in terms of the offense in the passing game, but when he comes in there, that guy, he's electric. He's a heck of a runner.
I think we'll see him soon. The plan was to get him in early. They call him shoelace because he doesn't tie his shoes. This uses the Velcro on the top of the athletic shoe to keep the foot in the shoe. So Nick Tausch will kick off. Martavius Odoms and Darryl Stoneham back deep for Michigan. Down to the 6 to Stoneham. Darryl Stoneham running away from the kicker. Touchdown, Michigan. An electrifying 94-yard return by the sophomore from Stafford, Texas. Jason Olesnovich for the extra point. 5th-year senior, first year starting at place kicker for Michigan, makes it 14-3.
Sean, they said that they needed Stoneham to play big. And this is a big play in a big game, and it's right here. Look at the blocking. Excellent job. Right here, he's just following his blockers, and then once you clear, it's instincts. So somebody gets high, he cuts back, and then it's just speed to the end zone. Very, very well blocked, very well executed, and 6 points for Michigan. Look at that right there. And as soon as he hit through that thing, it was just his eyes. He saw the guy get too high on him, cut back underneath, and then it's just open field.
Well, man, we talked at the top of the telecast. Both teams, both programs going through a rough patch the last couple of years. They both believe they're better. I saw Michigan in person twice last year. There's no doubt they are much better, and that's been Rich Rodriguez's history wherever he's been a head coach at 4 different schools now. A dramatic improvement from year 1 to year 2.
And there's a lot of stuff that goes on from year 1 to year 2, the least of which is learning your head coach.
Ryan Wright's kickoff down to the 1 to Theo Riddick. And he breaks a couple of tackles and goes out of bounds at the 23. Well, in his first year at his alma mater, West Virginia, Rich Rodriguez went 3-8. They scored only 21 points per game. A year later, 9-4, 30 points. Last year at Michigan, the worst offensive season in school history and the worst record in the history of the Wolverine program at 3-9.
There's a lot that goes into that. I mean, there's a lot of teaching. It's a new offense. You're changing personnel. You have new coaches. Coaches learning players. Players learning coaches. And you had a whole offseason to get your stuff in, so they should be a little more settled.
And now Clausen. Not on the field at quarterback as Armando Allen lined up in the Wildcat. They showed that last week against Nevada. He handed it off to Golden Tate. Clausen was on the field, lined up at a wideout position. Tate went to the 30. And a gain of about 6. Call it 5, 2nd and 5. They don't have to snap it again here in the first quarter. Clausen will return under center now. He's a junior from Westlake Village, California, in Southern California. Armando Allen.
It's over, guys. It's over.
About 2 yards short of the first down on the final play of a wide open first quarter. Notre Dame had 142 yards of offense in the first quarter, but trails 14-3. 14-3 Michigan as we go to the second quarter. Darrell Stoneham, a 94-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. First kickoff return for a score for Michigan. And Steve Breston went 95 yards with one against Minnesota October 8th, 2005. 3rd down and 1 for Notre Dame as the second quarter begins. The Irish at their own 33.
Tightened up coverage. You can see you got them all lined up on guys. You got one safety deep.
Armando Allen running right, first down. And he fights his way to the 38-yard line. Time now to take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Notre Dame down 14-3. They've averaged 6.8 yards per play, but have only 3 points despite the 142 yards of offense and the decided edge in time of possession.
And that's when they're keeping the ball. They're driving the field. They missed 1 field goal and they had to settle for 3 the other time. They need to get in the end zone with 6.
And a touchdown call back on the replay review. Clausen throwing that deep ball to an open receiver. Michael Floyd taken down by Boubacar Sissoko at the 23-yard line, or else that would have been a touchdown. They'll spot it back at the 24, and a long gainer for Notre Dame.
Again, it starts up front. Look at the time he has. No pressure whatsoever. He can just make step and throw. And Sissoko just a little bit too far. Is respecting the speed of Floyd. You can see he's bailing. Kind of lost where he was.
First catch for Floyd, good for 37 yards. He averaged 47 per catch last week with 4 balls against Nevada. 3 of them went for touchdowns. 1st and 10 Irish. Clausen with all day. Zings another one for another first down. The Golden Tate. Mike Williams made the tackle, but they'll mark it at the 10. First down after a 15-yard pickup.
Again, a lot of time. You're only coming with 4 down, and he's got the whole time. He sees Golden Tate just winding his way through that zone. He just nice step and throw, pick the hole, big first down.
Clausen in rhythm again. He had been feasting the last 2 games against Hawaii and Nevada, and doing it again today now against the Big Ten defensive unit, Michigan. Allen straight ahead. Boy, that's a tough run. He felt like he went down too easily last year, didn't break enough tackles. He was determined to be a tougher runner this year, and there's an example of it at 5'10", 200 pounds. He powered down to the 4.
That's also an example of him enjoying the big size advantage we talked about on the front end, Sean. Just take a good look at this offensive line. Everybody just keeps on churning. They keep on pushing down the field. See Sam Young, helmet gets ripped off. He's still going after him.
It's a offensive line, as Eric Olson, the center, says, been the whipping boys the last couple of years, and he said we deserved it. We haven't played very well, but it's a veteran group now, and Clausen's going to call a timeout.
Notre Dame, second team timeout.
And in fact, the only new starter in the entire offense for Charlie Weis this year is the senior left tackle Paul Duncan.
I still think it's a bad call.
Second and goal, Notre Dame from the Michigan 4. 12.5 to go till halftime. Michigan leading by 11. Jimmy Clausen throws quickly. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Golden Tate beat Boubacar Sissoko.
Sissoko can't give him that much room. That's too easy. It's just throw and catch.
And the 12th career touchdown reception for Tate, who's just in the second game of his junior season. Notre Dame up to 209 yards of offense, averaging 7.5 yards per play. Nick Tausch adds the extra point. Capacity's actually down a couple of thousand this year at the Big House, down to about 106,000 while they complete the renovations. They'll be back over 108,000 capacity next year. Nick Tausch kicks off. Martavius Odoms pulled down at the 25 by Sergio Brown. And let's go back and take a look at the Notre Dame score.
I want you to watch down here. Boubacar Sissoko, the corner, he's in man coverage, and it's a tough position because you want to be able to have your cushion and then be able to drive it. You have to kind of take a sneak back inside with your eyes, and you see the quick step. He's got to drive that ball right away. Let's give him a little bit too much cushion. He got him in the back pedal, and it's a score.
And Jimmy Clausen and the Notre Dame offense moving briskly. But Michigan on offense has been moving as well, averaging just under 9 yards per play. They have 113 yards of offense, and of course the 94-yard kickoff return for a score. Carlos Brown gets perhaps a yard on first down, and that's it. Ethan Johnson the tackle. Here's Holly.
About 6 or 7 minutes ago, Rich Rodriguez was getting ready to put in freshman quarterback Denard Robinson. He had his helmet on, been warming up, and he was ready to go. But then Michigan got that kickoff return. The offense have been sitting over here on the bench for so long now. Forcier was kind of getting cold. Rich Rodriguez said this is a rhythm offense, so he's choosing to go with Forcier keeping his rhythm right now.
Trying to set up a screen, and Notre Dame is all over it. Torian Smith, the middle linebacker, there to smother Martavius Odoms.
And we go back and look at both these programs and where they're at right now. You know, I said, we were talking about this last night, Sean. I said, you know, Michigan and Notre Dame, if you look at their rosters and where they're at, if both teams play their best games, Notre Dame should win this game. They have, you know, more time in the system. They have better personnel. The guys that Charlie Weis wants, Rodriguez is still trying to get his guys in.
Charlie Weis agreed with that statement. Forcier has a lot of running room. Needs to get the 34 for the first down. Didn't get there. Got to the 29. And that's all run down by Brian Smith, the best player on that Notre Dame defense, according to Coach Weis. And Charlie Weiss wasn't trying to brag. He said, I have great respect for Michigan, but we're in year 5 with our staff. We're further along than Michigan is right now with their new coaching staff. We have better players. If we play well, we should win the game.
And that's why I go back to saying, no, this is an important game for Notre Dame because of that fact.
Zoltan Mesko, all Big Ten punter last year, the all-time leading punter in Michigan history. Kicks one 40 yards, and Golden Tate made the fair catch at the 31.
I know Tennessee's got a big one. I know Penn State's got themselves a big one. I know down to USC, that's a big one.
But we know the answer, so we will not volunteer any help to the viewing audience. Clausen, another screen. Charlie Weiss loves screens, and why not? Flag down. Allen down after a 12-yard gain. But the flag thrown where you'd expect a holding call. Now a late flag thrown after the tackle was made. There are 2 flags. Bill Lemonnier, the referee, was already telling him to bring it back. He likely has a holding call or some sort of blocking infraction.
There was no foul downfield, but we had holding. 74 offense. 10 yards previous spot. First down.
Sam Young, the veteran tackle. Charlie Weiss's Sam and the center Eric Olson are the 2 best offensive linemen. Sam is making his 40th career start today.
You can see it right there. He's going to latch onto him. He goes back down inside hard and gets that inside rip move. And then he just latches onto him and takes him to the ground.
First down and 20. 5 wide receivers. And a delay game call now against the Irish.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Yeah, it's funny with Charlie Weiss. He knows better than anybody. Rule number 1 in this game is don't beat yourself. He had, previous to those 2 penalties, they had some rhythm going and they had the feel. And now you take that, and all of a sudden you're first in what 25 here. Kind of puts a little damper on things.
Don't you think this increased emphasis on holding penalties is going to be very controversial this year?
Yeah, but you know what'll happen? Halfway through the season, it'll all get worked out.
Under 10 minutes to go in the half now. Clausen on 1st and 25 goes deep, and there he is again, Michael Floyd. Sissoko just cannot cover him. First down out to the 49-yard line on a pickup of 33.
And I'm going to tell you something Charlie Weiss is telling his quarterback Clausen. He's saying go after 33. He's smaller, and right now he's backpedaling. And so that's exactly what he does. And of course it starts with the good pressure. No pressure again. And then Floyd just goes up. Heck, he's waiting for the ball. Sissoko's going to have to pick his game up a little bit here.
35-yard per catch average, as we said, down from the 47 per grab last week. Clausen smelling blood, going deep, and it is broken up beautifully. Donovan Warren that time had coverage on Golden Tate.
Very well done by Donovan Warren. The Golden Tate, a little fighting going down the field, but it's exactly what you want. Watch Donovan Warren. He knows where it's going now. Head him off to get to the top shoulder. He just goes ahead and fights, gets that right arm in there and knocks that thing away. Very well done. They're letting him play a little bit. Ooh, a little holdage.
Greg Robinson raving about Warren yesterday. And he reminds him of Ray Crockett, longtime NFL defensive back. Of course, Greg Robinson spent 14 years as an assistant coach in the NFL, 10 as a defensive coordinator, won 2 rings with the Denver Broncos. Armando Allen going through that defense. First down, 40-yard line of Michigan. They finally got some good weather there in New York. Get the U.S. Open back and moving. Jonas Gray at running back now. Well-deserved breather for Armando Allen, who's rushed for 78 yards. Gray, a sophomore. In Beverly Hills, Michigan. He's one of 3 Michiganders on this Notre Dame team. And he went ahead for 4. had a good day last week against Nevada. Rushed for 50 yards on 9 carries. Not a Detroit country day. Notre Dame driving. A touchdown would give them the lead. Lawson zips one. Caught. Golden Tate. Another first down to the 25-yard line. Flag down back near the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's just on the outside. Again, the whole key that you're watching this game, this is like 7-on-7. He's got way too much time to throw the football. If you're a Michigan defender, they need pressure.
Esser, 45, half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Obieze, middle linebacker, their leading tackler last year out of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
He's got the time. Zay comes late. That's what they're going to call that.
Well, it's a first down for the Irish. 11 yards on the pass play, 13 on the penalty. First and 10, just outside the 12. Jonas Gray running right across the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Jonas Mouton, the play for Michigan.
Mouton just followed him down the line. That's good hustle. Take a look at Clausen now. I'm watching him. A couple things you saw last week, you've seen again, handling the pocket, but he's getting excellent protection right now. This is just like 7-on-7. He's only missed 5. He's thrown the ball well. A couple bad throws. Other than that, he's been pretty darn good.
Top quarterback recruit in the country coming out of high school. He throws it the back corner of the end zone. Touchdown. They're making it look easy on the perimeter. Michael Floyd beat Donovan Warren. And Notre Dame takes the lead.
Remember, on the front end, we just talked about confidence. We talked about we don't know where these teams are. And so Notre Dame goes out and goes up and down the field and comes away with 3 points. But they come back and they've regrouped. They know what they are. They're starting to get more and more confident as this game goes on.
And the extra point is good from Nick Tausch. Notre Dame leads for the first time today. They overcame that 1st and 25 at the beginning of the drive. Went 69 yards in 7 plays. Capped by an 11-yard touchdown pass by Clausen. Notre Dame leads for the first time today. It's 17-14, just over 7 minutes left till the half. For all things related to Chicagoland's teams, including Notre Dame football, you can log on to ESPNChicago.com, where you can also go for complete post-game coverage of this game. So log on to ESPNChicago.com, get all the latest on the Irish. Don't forget to check out Eric Hansen's blog devoted solely to Notre Dame football. Nick Tausch will kick off for Notre Dame. Artavius Odoms, Daryl Stoneham back deep for the Wolverines. It's Odoms from the 6. Trying to go all the way across the field and did not reach the 20. Jamor Slaughter banged him out of bounds. The kickoff coverage unit fired up after they allowed a touchdown earlier. Other great venues in college football. This place a little quieter now as Notre Dame has come back from 11 down to take a 3-point lead. Tate Forcier in trouble behind the line of scrimmage and sacked, and a late flag thrown in the defensive secondary. Brian Smith got the quarterback. First sack of the game for either team. But a defensive holding call against Notre Dame.
Holding, number 31 on the defense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's Sergio Brown. He's lined up in the slot, and it's a good call. He latched onto him pretty well. You can watch Sergio Brown right here. Trying to walk in position. And then that's a pretty easy call.
And here's Denard Robinson now, the other freshman quarterback with blazing speed, sub 4.40. And we got a hard-earned yard. Welcome to this rivalry, says Robert Blanton, the cornerback. Sophomore from Matthews, North Carolina. Well, that will be the test of the no shoelace approach. If the shoes stayed on after that hit, they'll probably stay on throughout.
Well, they gave him his one run. Now they're going to send him right back to the sidelines. This is a kid, though, that you got to keep your eyes on because he has big playability in those feet. That kid can go.
When compared to Pat White, who started quarterback for Rich Rodriguez in West Virginia, Blanton, the only person near that throw from Tate Forcier, as the throwing over the head of Kelvin Grady. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
The difference right now in quarterbacks with Forcier, he hasn't had any. He's not having the time to set his feet, look downfield like you see with Clausen on the other side. And that speaks to the Notre Dame defense in the front end. Also, John Tenuta, their defensive coordinator, is giving a lot of different looks.
Forcier has better receivers, or rather Clausen has better receivers with which to work. Forcier's throw is high and incomplete. Greg Matthews was in a crowd and got upended as the ball went over his head. Kyle McCarthy, the safety, their defensive captain, always around the football.
Always around the ball is right, and he knows exactly where that thing is, and he's going to show up with a pretty good hit. And the difference right now is personnel outside. And Notre Dame, with their receivers, they have the advantage versus Michigan's defensive players, especially in the secondary.
Second straight 3 and out for Michigan. Zoltan Mesko to punt. Born in Romania, came to this country when he was 11 years old with his parents. Got a terrible bounce on an already short punt, and it was fielded by Ray Herring. And Notre Dame's going to have great field position at the Michigan 42. What a big buzz around that program. 3 wide receivers. Armando Allen, the only back, and has a big hole and almost broke it. Goes to the 27 for a 15-yard gain as they try to capitalize on the 13-yard punt.
This is just power football. They just get to the second level, get a hat on a hat. And Armando Allen, he's just running into holes. He doesn't have to create anything. He doesn't have to lower anything. He just has to go. Already approaching 100 yards.
Again, and they were ready for him. No gain. He got smothered by Brandon Graham. And then looking for a solid running game for a long time in South Bend.
That's it, guys. It's over.
Wolfolk made the stop on Armando Allen. They haven't had a player rush for 100 yards in a game since 2007 when Robert Hughes did it against Duke.
Well, right now Armando Allen isn't having to break any tackles. He's getting some nice holes now. These last 2 times Michigan has stopped them. Sets up this 3rd and 10. This is a big play here for the Michigan defense if they're going to stay in this game.
They've been on the field a lot. About a 2-to-1 time of possession advantage for Notre Dame to this point. 3rd down and 10.
Sitting in his zone.
Clausen out of the gun. Flag thrown on the snap. Another screen. Armando Allen through the secondary and down at the 9, and another flag thrown. There was one thrown by the official on the line of scrimmage, far side of the field, as soon as the ball was snapped, and then another thrown downfield near the end of the run, 18 yards if it stands.
Charlie Weiss has been using the screens very effectively today. Screens are all about timing and feel, and right now he's got a good feel for the screen game.
There was a staple of the New England Patriots offense when he was calling up the plays for his good pal Tom Brady, a Michigan alum.
Holding, number 18 downfield. That penalty's been declined. Illegal shift. Offense. 5 yards previous spot. Repeat 3rd down.
So a year ago that yellow flag bit Michigan in the rear end, and today it's biting Notre Dame in the keister.
Notre Dame was penalized only 3 times last week in their win against Nevada. Had no turnovers. The only other team in the country on the opening week to have 3 penalties or fewer and no turnovers was UNLV. Notre Dame pitched the shutout, beating Nevada 35-0. First shutout by the Notre Dame defense since 2002 when they blanked Rutgers. Fourth penalty today against Notre Dame. 3rd down, 15, 3.5 to go in the half. Lawson, short throw, and a solid tackle made in space by Craig Rowe, a true freshman from Scottsdale, Arizona. They took down Jonas Gray at the 25, and it'll be a field goal try for the Irish.
And a nice single. You're singled up in the middle of the field with a two-way go, and Jonas Gray. You've got to make that play. Craig Rowe, that's a nice play.
Nick Tausch, 42-yard try. He's 1 for 2 today. Missed from 28, good from 34. Plenty of leg, and it is right down the middle. Longest field goal of his brief collegiate career for the freshman from Plano, Texas. 2:41 to go, first half here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Notre Dame leading 20-14.
Ismail up the middle. He is gone. No flags. Touchdown. 25 out of the pack. 30, 35. Goodbye, baby. At the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Fire, rocket, touchdown. Irish.
Well, these two schools have a long history together, rivalry back to 1887, and lately the games have been tight. 7 of the last 8 decided by a touchdown or less. One difference today, Notre Dame scoring in Ann Arbor. Their last 3 trips to Ann Arbor, a total of 17 points for Notre Dame, and they all came in one game, a 17-10 win here in 2005. They were shut out on their other 2 trips recently here, including in 2007.
Michigan's got to find their rhythm right now, Sean. They've just been, the last 2 series have not gone well. They've not had good protection. They've not run the football. So they've got to go back to something that they do well. And I think when they can get back to getting the ball back in Miner's hands, let him pound that a little bit, try to create 3rd and short for that quarterback.
Latavius Odom's kickoff returned to 30. Forcier, after the fake, wanted to throw it, and he is run down from behind back at the 26 by Darius Fleming. Charlie Weiss says he's our best pass rusher, sophomore from Chicago.
Yeah, he can run, he can scoop. They'll take him as a linebacker, and on 3rd downs and passing situation, they'll put his hand in the dirt and let him come off the edge.
Forcier will go out of the gun now. Two minutes to go in the half. Forcier on target. First down, 49-yard line. Darryl Stoneham. He had the 94-yard kickoff return for a touchdown on the receiving end of a 23-yard strike from Forcier.
One thing you gotta love about this Forcier, things don't seem to faze him. He comes right back, and he just under control, knows where he wants to go with the football. It's an impressive kid.
Bernard Robinson takes his place now. He was in the last series, carried once for no gain. This time finds a crease and has a first down to the Notre Dame 36. On his first play in college football last week, he came in, dropped the shotgun snap, picked it up, and ran 43 yards for a touchdown to electrify the crowd here.
Oh, and did we mention he can really scoot? That guy can go. Heck, at the end of that play, it looked like the official got a good hit. The only guy who got a good hit on him was the official.
Robinson was 3rd in the Class 4A state meet in Florida in the 100-yard last year. Ran a 10.44. Forcier can run too, and another good tackle in space stops him for only a 3-yard gain. Sean McNeil, the tackle for the Irish. 2 timeouts left for Michigan. as the clock goes to 1:20 left in the half.
So you take a look at that plan. Forcier, he can run. But if that had been Denard Robinson, we'd been looking at the official's armpits because his arms would be in the air.
Robinson back in. And they set up a reverse. Martavius Odoms, and Notre Dame disciplined against that trickery. Ethan Johnson made the tackle. Loss back to the 37. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
They got to keep their eye on the clock right here at 48 seconds to go. He got 3rd and 11. He's got 2 timeouts. He can use one after this down. He's got to. He's already
might
down
not want to use
seconds.
it here because he's not sure they're going to convert.
Not here.
Forcier, 5-man rush. He throws incomplete. Not on the same page with Odoms, with Kyle McCarthy in coverage. And now what does Rich Rodriguez do? 4th down and called 11.
Well, it's a 55-yard field goal.
You heave one.
No, he's going to throw in here. Try to get the 1st down. You still have 24 seconds. You got 2 timeouts. If you can. Got a lot of field to use here.
They'll have to throw it to the end zone. He needs the 1st down. Forcier again under pressure. He has a lot of running room. Elects to throw instead and has a man for a 1st down. Greg Matthews. The clock will stop as they move the chains, and they'll use the timeout anyway, leaving them with 1. Rashawn McNeil made the tackle. Forcier, the freshman, ultra cool. There was a significant rush, and he was on target after the scramble.
Yeah, see his eyes right away. Came out of the rush, went right down the field. He's looking to throw that ball. And Matthews, the senior receiver we talked about on the front end of this thing, knew he had to come up big, came back to the ball, makes a catch, 1st down. You get a guy coming only in his 2nd year, doesn't quite have his whole thing together, and he can knock you off. That doesn't bode well for you.
Forcier runs, flag down, and he throws, and another flag down. The ball was caught by Carlos Brown, but there are 2 flags on the play. One thrown, you were expecting an offensive holding call, and then one thrown downfield in the coverage area.
Yeah, it looked like he stepped out of bounds. Forcier, regardless of what happens here, he's buying some time and he's creating.
Holding, offense number 72. Pass interference, defense number 31. Penalties offset, still 1st down.
Hughie, the right tackle, got called for the hold. But you get the offset, and so you'll come right back to where you are. Now, I want you to watch Forcier. See, scans the whole field, goes left to right, and now come up and create. Starts to break down, looks back down the field. That was the pass interference right there. Darren Walls, the corner, number 2.
Now they're down to 10 seconds to go in the half, and Notre Dame wants a timeout.
Timeout, Notre Dame. 3rd and final team timeout.
Now, Sean, he has a timeout, and you can use up to 7 seconds here. That you'll get a full play in and can still call a timeout and then make a decision.
A lot going on in this ball game. Both teams have scuffled on offense in recent years, despite head coaches who are known as outstanding offensive minds. I think both the head coaches have to be pleased with the way the offenses have played. It's an unusual game in that the head coaches call the plays on both sides.
You know, here's the one thing that's good, though, Sean. Both these teams are significantly better than we thought they were. Forget about what happened a week ago. They're playing pretty good right now. Both these quarterbacks are playing pretty well.
Forcier, 5-man rush. Again, he steps up in the grasp. He gets rid of it.
Smart play by Forcier.
He was outside the tackle area, the indication from Bill Lamonier. So here will come Jason Olisnovich to attempt the field goal. Darius Fleming had Forcier wrapped up.
That's a heady kid right there. That's great presence.
He's grown up around football his whole life, Forcier. You mentioned the 2 older brothers. Both college quarterbacks. Olisnovich. from 39 yards, and it is good on the final play of a very entertaining first half here at the Big House. 48-yard scoring drive. Notre Dame 302 yards of offense. Almost doubled up Michigan in total offense, but the Wolverines had the 94-yard kickoff return by Darryl Stoneham. And they will get it first. Nick Tausch will kick off for the Irish. Notre Dame was the best kickoff coverage team in the country last year. They gave up a touchdown on a kickoff return in the first half, and Odoms brings this one back.
For this Michigan defense.
There's Tate Forcier, not to be overshadowed, at a very good first half. 9 out of 14. He's on target with his first throw of the second half. Darryl Stoneham out near the 40 and an apparent first down, tackled by Kyle McCarthy. Rayshawn McNeil. McCarthy was not a highly recruited player to Notre Dame. The high school quarterback. Forcier was highly recruited, one of the top ranked quarterbacks coming out of high school a year ago. ESPNU had him rated the 14th best quarterback in the high school ranks a year ago.
Nice.
Beautiful ball fake.
Kid's got game.
And he goes out of bounds near the 47.
Sean, this is stuff you just have. You can't teach this stuff. And Tate Forcier, he's got it. Now watch this. Look at that. Gets him up in the air, and then he takes his eyes down. He sees everybody run off, and he's just going to go get what's there. This kid, the more you watch him, the more impressed you are with him, because he has what you cannot teach, and that is just poise.
7-yard gain on that play. 2nd and 3. As you mentioned, he's been groomed to play quarterback in college since he was in the 3rd grade. And he carries for a first down. The 2 older brothers who played quarterback, they were tutored by Marv Marinovich, the father of Todd Marinovich. And Tate used to watch his brothers work out, and at a very early age he used to hop on the train in San Diego, go an hour and a half each way up to Orange County to work out with Marv Marinovich. 3 brothers. We mentioned a little rivalry in Southern California. There were 3 Clausen brothers now who have played quarterback in college football, and 3 Forciers. And it's Forcier's team on the move. Brandon Miner rumbles down near the 33-yard line. Another first down, 16 yards for Michigan.
We talked on this at the start of this game that they had to be able to get the ball into this man's hands. Now this Brandon Miner is a powerful kid. He's got good eyes. He slides nice and easy to the hole. They need to use him more.
Miner through a gaping hole. Inside the 5 and down at the 1.
Maybe you and I should be calling this game. Brandon Miner hits the hole beautifully. You're going to watch this right here. Nice job by the offensive line. See 60 right there. Mooseman does a really nice job. Look, now you're just running to field. There's nothing back here. Just run away, nicely done. Brandon Miner has him right down there, knocking on the goal line.
32-yard run for Miner. Michigan 1st and goal. Poised to reclaim the lead. They led by 11 early. Miner again tripped up. Good penetration by that defensive front for the Irish. Capron Lewis Moore, sophomore from Weatherford, Texas, made his first career start last week. Penetrated that Michigan offensive line. High formation now with Miner the tailback. Power football. Forcier fumbled the snap and appeared to get it back. He did, but lost a yard to the 2.
I just said that this was going to be one of the most important drives, if not the most important drive of this game at the start of the second half. And now you're right down here, and now you're already into 3rd down. That's a big mistake. Looks like Forcier pulled his finger like he almost may have jammed it.
Sometimes these spread quarterbacks aren't used to being under center and taking the conventional snap. They stay with the power look. 2 tight ends. Toss to Miner. He's in trouble and smothered, and there's a flag down. He got stuffed back at the 5. Harrison Smith leading the way with Torian Smith. And they blew it up for a loss, and there was also a holding call against Michigan.
Yeah, I'd decline this one right here and make him kick.
Holding. 72 offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Well, the Smith brothers do a great job of closing that thing because it looks like he can get to the edge. You're going to watch Harrison Smith. Here comes, nice job right there by McCarthy. Gets his face in there. Here comes Smith over the top, and the other Smith right there also.
Rich Rodriguez wanted to know what happened. That bobbled snap was a costly play, a waste of a down. They were poised to take the lead. Now they'll be happy with the tie. Tough angle here for Olasnovic. 1 for 1 today, a 39-yarder. This will be 22 out of the hold of Zoltan Mesko. So they might be taking the delay on purpose to back up and get a better angle.
Just decline it.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Yeah, I would have declined that. Let him have the bad angle.
Olasnovic, a 5th-year walk-on kicker. Recently put on scholarship. He wasn't even sure he was going to come back for his 5th year, but Rich Rodriguez told him the kicking job was wide open, and he earned it in the preseason. 5 yards further back, and he missed it. Hooked it wide left.
Good call by Charlie Weiss to take the penalty.
First offensive possession of the second half for Notre Dame after 302 yards of offense in the first half. And they come out slinging. Another holding flag thrown as Clausen runs. 4-6. I already hate this emphasis on holding calls. And we're only in the second weekend of the season.
Holding. 59 offense. 10 yards. Previous spot. 1st down.
Neither team has turned it over, and that's been a staple of the Charlie Weiss era. Quick throw and catch. Golden Tate got them back out to the 19.
I like that play.
Set up 2nd down and 11. Matter of fact, Matt, since 2005, only West Virginia, Florida, and Ball State have had more turnover-free games than Notre Dame. They had another turnover-free game last week. They're 16th since 2005.
That speaks to good coaching.
Jonas Gray is the running back now. 3 wide receivers. Clausen with time again has Floyd cutting across the middle for a 1st down. Good and back, but he got to the 31. Donovan Warren on the stop. 12 yards. 1st down, Notre Dame.
Too much room. Sitting back there in his zone is just way too much room. Watch Donovan Warren now. You can see what they're doing up front. They're just going to get their rush. They're matching up inside with Rudolph, but it's just too much room.
Four catches for Floyd. Tate has 6. They've combined for 10 catches for 150 yards. Some of those preseason publications have them rated the best in the country. Fumble! Stevie Brown knocked it out, and a rare turnover for Notre Dame as Jonas Mouton recovered.
John, you put the jinx on him. Just when we get done talking about having turnover-free games, here they come. Gonna watch him coming off the edge. He's going to get the pressure, but this happened up the field. This is right here at the hand. Oh, there it is. Nice hit on Gray.
This looked like Gray didn't quite get the handoff well. Jonas Gray, the first turnover of the season for Notre Dame.
Well, Stevie Brown makes himself a play off the edge. They said they were going to try to get to him, or we did rather, because he's a smaller guy, but he used his speed there to make a big play.
Michigan drove on the opening possession of this half, missed a short field goal. Here's Minor again, turning the corner for about 7. Harrison Smith made the tackle. Last year he was a Stevie Brown kind of player, a hybrid. They've moved him back to safety where they think he's more comfortable. There's Brown from Indiana, grew up in a small town outside Indianapolis. He said it came down to Michigan and Notre Dame, but he had grown up a Michigan fan. And there's Miner into the secondary. First and goal. Wolverines at the 7-yard line. Big chunks on the ground game now for Brandon Miner.
Said this at the start, and they're following suit. This is a way to settle your offense in, let your offensive line come off the ball, and let Brandon Miner just pick his spots. This is a good player, really good player. Uses his eyes very well.
And they're going with the fastest of their 3 paces. It's Miner again, finding the hole. He lost the ball and got it back. He had fumbling problems last year. That was in part attributed to the wrist surgery. He had surgery on his right wrist. He had to carry the ball only in his left hand. That wrist is healed now.
That looks like he's down already. His knee was down. Ball should have been marked up a little bit.
And Denard Robinson is in at quarterback. Running right inside the 5 and banged out of bounds at the 2. Brown wanted a late hit on that side of the field. They're going to spot it at the 3.
If I'm John Tenuta and I'm the defensive coordinator for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, whenever I see 16 come into the game, I'm going after him because he doesn't pose a threat at this point in the passing game. So get your people up at the line of scrimmage, tighten down your coverage, and just go ahead and get after him.
There's John Tenuta. Coordinates the defense with help from Corwin Brown. He's a former star defensive back here at Michigan. Forcier back in. Forcier throws, and it is caught. Touchdown, Michigan. Kevin Koger.
Koger has the nice catch, but that is all Tate Forcier. This kid is impressive. Not a big kid, but a heady kid. And he can play.
And Olasnovich kicks the extra point. The Wolverines capitalize on the fumble. 5 plays to go to 26 yards. A 3-yard pass. Forcier to Koger. 3rd career touchdown for the tight end.
Decision, and boom, it's a score. That is so impressive for an old quarterback, but even more impressive for a young one.
Yeah, he doesn't play like a true freshman, and poised well beyond his years as well. Brian Wright's kickoff. Down to Barry Gallup Jr. Nice return right up the middle. Barry Gallup Jr. across midfield. Well, Charlie Weiss said whenever possible we'd like Theo Riddick, the speedster, to return the kickoffs. That one came down to Barry Gallup Jr., then the son of the longtime coach, Boston College, former head coach at Northeastern. Made Dad proud with that return.
Just running with his eyes. The kid's got some shiftiness to him. He's got run down from behind. Right when he had a chance to burst, he couldn't quite hit that next gear.
52-yard return. Barry Gallup Sr., known for, among other things, recruiting Darren and Doug Flutie to Boston College. He assisted Jack Bicknell. Armando Allen ran right into the pile, tried to bounce outside and lost a yard. Oklahoma State, prolific offense a year ago. They've struggled offensively in their first 2 games. Help again today from the special teams.
They got one great player, and that was the guy who just had his ball in the hands of Des Bryant.
5 wides for Jimmy Clausen. They blitzed him, and his pass was errant. They got pressure up the middle from a couple of blitzing linebackers, Jonas Mouton and Obi Aze.
You can see they're just coming right up inside. It's just a matter of numbers. They're going to blitz this A gap right here, and then Mouton's going to come from the other side. You're forced to make a decision. They pull the guard, that clears it open for Mouton. The ball has to come out quick, and it's high. Sets up a 3rd and 11.
Lawson 15 out of 21. 211 and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Watch up top.
Clausen trying to set up a screen. They sniffed that one out, and he had to throw it at the fate of Armando Allen.
They felt that one right away. Van Bergen had a great feel for it. And here's what happens in screens. Whenever you're a defensive lineman and nobody touches you, something's up. And so you just start, of course, through the first half, they had a couple of screens that got them. They started to pull back.
Greg Robinson, first-year defensive coordinator of Michigan after 4 years as head coach at Syracuse. Won only 10 games in 4 years there, but the highlight was the win last year late in the season at Notre Dame. Just days after he learned he would not be coming back for a 5th season as head coach at Syracuse. Very emotional day for Robinson and that Syracuse team. Eric Moss bombed one too deep into the end zone. It will come out to the 20. The ball, the lead, and the momentum on the side of Michigan here in the Big House. After the first 3 and out for Notre Dame on offense today, Michigan takes over. On 1st and 10 from their own 20. It's Brandon Minor taking the handoff from Tate Forcier ahead for 2 yards. And Forcier in his second college game playing like a seasoned pro.
He finds Carlos Brown on the outside. I think the most important thing is he goes to Greg Matthews right here and then finishes up with Koger in the end zone is when he does move. He keeps his eyes down the field, but he does it for more than one reason. Most of the time you say it's just a throw. He's not afraid to run either.
Throwing deep down the field and incomplete. Aaron Walls had step-for-step coverage with Greg Matthews.
He's a young, you know, he reminds me of, he has some finesse to his game that you can't teach. Joe Montana had that. And when Montana was young, he would take off and run, and he'd create some things. Forcier's got a little bit of that in it. In fact, he's got more than a little bit.
Well, he says he's 6'1", about 194 pounds.
He'd be lying.
I stood next to him yesterday. If you know, he looks smaller than that. Certainly, when you see him on TV, he was taller than I thought in person. He might be just under 6'1". Well set up screen, and Carlos Brown has a first down. And Forcier made the point yesterday. He said, all I know is I've worked out in the San Diego area with Drew Brees, and I'm taller than Drew Brees.
Oh, he was proud as a peacock about that one, wasn't he? Now, if he can play like Drew Brees, who is a phenomenal, he's tearing it up right now.
Forcier, after a good fake, ripped up, but still got nearly 5. Brian Smith made the tackle. Now, we talked about that rivalry, the Forciers and the Clausens of Southern California. 3 boys in each family that have played quarterback in Division I football. And Forcier's not hesitant to say there's a rivalry. Our family doesn't really like the Clausens very much. His brother Chris Forcier was coming out as the same time as Jimmy Clausen, both highly touted high school quarterbacks. Forcier's on the sideline. Denard Robinson.
That's it.
And they followed your advice, man. They know he's going to run it when he's in there, and he gets stuffed for no gain.
So at one point, you're going to have to let him throw the football. Just a nice little fake and then get the ball down the field because they're crowding the line of scrimmage, which is what you'd expect. You know, this Forcier and Clausen thing, it sounds like maybe we should have it. It sounds like another show for ABC. Like, you know, quarterbacks of Los Angeles.
Yes.
You could probably do something like that.
I think that's a great idea.
I'm just thinking outside the box.
But he said, you know, they don't hate each other, but he said there was a healthy dislike. All from Southern California, playing on a beautiful day in Michigan. A little bubble screen, and Kelvin Grady is pulled down. First year in the football program here at Michigan. He was a point guard on the basketball team for 2 years. His brother Kevin was a running back on the football team. He decided to give up basketball, come out for football. They're going for this apparently.
4th down and 1.5 to 2.
What a risk. It might be a pooch punt, and it is. And Forcier showing another skill. Will it stop? Yes! Great effort by Stoneham to hustle down and save it from going into the end zone. He's already returned a kickoff, 94 for a touchdown. Now he downs the punt inside the 5.
But what does this tell you about what Rich Rodriguez thinks of this young quarterback? He knows he's got a player, but he also, they practice this. They practice this with all the quarterbacks. And he goes ahead and has him the pooch punt and just gives him great field position. That's a great job by Rodriguez and great confidence in the young quarterback.
And of course, in college football, it's the ball, not the player, with regard to the end zone. And the ball never did go into the end zone, so poor field position. Notre Dame from its own 4.
Single deep, they're going to go up.
Clausen airing it out. Single coverage. And incomplete. And Golden Tate wanted a flag, and now a very late flag thrown against Boubacar Sissoko.
Well, they had single high. You can see the safety down there. And you knew he was going to take a shot down the field. And what Rich Rodriguez is saying is that, hey, that ball, that couldn't have been caught.
Pass interference, defense, number 33, 15-yard penalty, first down.
I don't know if the official had trouble getting the flag out of his pocket. Now there's some woofing after the play, and Tate better be careful.
And you watch Boubacar Sissoko right there, 33, gets on his horse, and see what they're going to call him is the blocking with that arm. That's what he's going to call him on. And now what Rodriguez is saying is, look, that ball couldn't have been caught regardless.
15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. The ball out to the 18-yard line. Play action pass. Clausen. Flag thrown. We expect offensive holding. Kyle Rudolph is wide open. He may go. Izay trying to catch him and does at the 10, but this one is likely coming back. And it will. Offensive holding.
Clausen's right there and knows it. And what they're going to call is they're going to call Sam Young. And he just latches on. And anytime you're going to see a defender, when they turn him and throw him down, that flag is getting thrown.
Holding, 74 offense, half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
They're going to call it, and they got him right there.
And you made the point to Rich Rodriguez yesterday, you know, sometimes these linemen are going to get penalized because the defenders aren't very good at staying on their feet.
You know, in that particular play right there, Craig Rowe took the inside move. He got banged, and he started to fall anyway. And then he just latched onto him, Young did, and just threw him to the ground. He would have been fine just pushing him. He was fine because he was already going to the ground. But got the hands in, they call him.
It wipes out a 72-yard gain for Notre Dame. Back of their own 9, first and 20, 3.5 to go, third quarter. Clausen, near side, caught by Floyd. Tackled immediately by Boubacar Sissoko. We'll be glad to see this day end, and give him credit. He's hanging in there the best he can with Floyd. Gain of 12, second and 8. Back and forth game here in Ann Arbor. Now it's Notre Dame down by 4. Quick throw, and it's dropped. Incomplete pass. Duval Kamara, junior from Hoboken, New Jersey, couldn't corral it.
Troy Wolfolk was there. Now that's Butch Wolfolk's son.
Yes.
He's a great player, great running back here at the University of Michigan. And the guy can scoot, he can fly. Not quite as big as his dad, but boy, he's a heck of a good player at safety, and he covers a lot of ground.
Troy's on the track team here. Moved from cornerback to safety in the spring. He would have been a backup cornerback. And Greg Robinson likes the transition he's made to safety.
It's a big down right here.
Play clock running out. And Clausen called the timeout with 1 second to snap it.
Timeout. Notre Dame. First timeout.
After 302 yards in the first half, only 27 yards of offense here in the third quarter for Clausen and Notre Dame. 3rd and 8 for Notre Dame from their own 21. Down 24 to 20. 2:42 to go, third quarter.
Floyd's matched up down below.
Moved in closer to the line of scrimmage. Clausen under pressure, lofts it up for Tate, and it's incomplete. The pressure forced the quick throw, and give Boubacar Sissoko credit again. He was on the hip of the receiver, and Brandon Graham applied the pressure up front.
Graham got the pressure, and you can go back to Greg Robinson for the call in this one. Nice job. He comes unblocked, forces the quick throw, and the ball hangs up a little too high, and it's an incompletion.
And a sign of good coaching is when you adjust at halftime, and obviously they've made some improvements with their defensive approach after Notre Dame went through that defense with ease in the first half. Eric Moss punts short, and a soft bounce, and rolls down to the 36. Interesting early season matchup. The Longhorns traveling to Laramie to take on Wyoming. Under 2.5 to go, third quarter. Back and forth game. Michigan led 14-3. Notre Dame led 20-14. Then 10 on the injured points for the Wolverines. Brandon Miner, the ball carrier, and Harrison Smith made the tackle.
There's Greg Robinson. He's getting into J.T. Floyd, and the reason is there was a little bit of scuffle going on after that play, after that punt, and he's just going to let him know you do not do that. That is not. There's no part in the game for that part.
Would have been a terrible time to get a penalty when they had stopped the Irish offense. Forcier could have run, dumped it off the Koger. First down, Notre Dame territory, 38-yard line. Kyle McCarthy banged him out.
And yet another example of Forcier being in control. Kroger's going to line up. This is the West Coast offense play. They're going to take him and they're going to run him right underneath. They're going to expect this defensive end to come up, and then you have to make a decision. So now he can run. He has the whole field. He's going to just dump it off to Kroger, let him get down the field, get a big first down, a big play, live for another down.
Forcier keeps after the fake to Miner, and is dragged down to the 36. Gain of about 2.5. Robert Blanton made the tackle for Notre Dame, and the clock will likely go under a minute left in the third quarter by the next snap.
If I'm Michigan right now, it's Miner. That's who you got to get the ball. It's not a major. It's a minor. It's a major minor.
Miner becomes major when you're trying to protect and build on this lead. Miner's rush for 98 yards. Carlos Brown is in the backfield at the moment, and he gets the handoff. Georgia native down to the 30. And they don't have to snap it again. And you think with as explosive as this Notre Dame offense can be, Matt, you don't want to sit on the lead if you're Rich Rodriguez, because you're very much an up-tempo rhythm offense. But you wouldn't mind if the clock comes down quickly, too.
Clock can come tumbling down right here. He's given his defense time to rest, and he's given his offense more and more confidence with each snap.
Michigan controlled the third quarter. Gorgeous day on a beautiful campus. Ann Arbor, Michigan. University of Michigan hosting their rivals Notre Dame. Wolverines leading by 4 as we go to the fourth quarter, and looking for more. A big 3rd down and 2 for Tate Forcier and the Wolverines at the Notre Dame 30. And Miner's stopped for a loss.
They brought everybody, Sean. They brought everybody, dropped them down. They were expecting a run inside, and that's exactly what they got. Ethan Johnson was right there. Ian Williams was right there. And also Harrison showed up.
And Michigan's going to go for it. I mentioned they do not have a proven kicker. Olis Novich, a career backup, now a 5th-year senior, missed a short one earlier, and this would be almost a 50-yarder. So they'll go for it on 4th and 3. Forcier looked to the sideline for guidance.
Safeties are coming down again.
Everybody up for the Irish. Great move by Forcier. Right up the middle. Touchdown, Michigan.
If you look real close, there's a jock strap on the field, and it belongs to Darius Fleming. Sean, all I can say is wow. Wow to that kid. That kid is a stud bolt.
A star is born in college football today. In one of the great rivalries in college football, on the biggest stage, Tate Forcier, the freshman, has delivered 31 yards for the score. 31-20 Michigan. And the yardage has tilted, as here in the second half, Michigan has 183 yards of total offense to 27 for Notre Dame. The penalties have hurt the Irish. Forcier's touchdown and the extra point, giving Michigan an 11-point lead. Right with a good kick. And Theo Riddick takes the knee in the middle of the end zone. Let's look at today's City inside view.
Here's what I want you to take a good look at. They have 2 receivers, and you have 9 guys up here at the line of scrimmage. That means you are 9 on 9, which means that the quarterback has to account for a player. And that was the accounting right there. Darius Fleming had him dead in the backfield. One little quick move, and he was to the house. His man coverage. Everybody has their back turns, and he knew it, and he's gone.
It's a maze out in the stands. Forcier's been amazing on the field. Now Clausen with work to do. Comes out with a quick throw. Duval Kamara.
This is good for Notre Dame.
And even 6.
Yeah, this is good for Notre Dame right here. Troy Wolfong with that speed getting over there. But now let's see exactly where they're at, because this is a talented team. This is a talented team, and this is a quarterback who's got the skills. He's got receivers outside who have an advantage in terms of speed and skill versus that secondary.
And that secondary is without starting safety Mike Williams, who limped off a while ago. Holly Rowe tells us he's been taken to the locker room. 2nd and 4. Clausen might be confused. Goes to the run. Armando Allen fights for a first down.
Oh, Sean.
And the football's a dandy. Clausen's throw incomplete. Donovan Warren had the coverage on Golden Tate. Warren, yet another Southern Californian in this game. He's from Los Angeles. His godfather is the terrific former USC defensive back Mark Carrier. They said, "You're from Los Angeles. Your godfather's Mark Carrier. How'd you wind up in Michigan?" He said, "I want to get away from home." And he said, Carrier told him, "I don't care if you don't go to USC as long as you don't go to UCLA." Second and 10. Just 3 first downs in the second half for Notre Dame. Clausen going deep. Warren has the coverage, and it is incomplete. Looked like it was going to be a home run to Golden Tate. But Warren, who does not have blazing speed, closed the ground to get back into that play.
Which means the ball hung a little bit too much. But Golden Tate gets on the top side of him, and that has to be a catch. That's inexcusable. If you're a big-time player and you're in a big-time game, you've got to make a big-time play. That, however, was a big-time drop, and Clausen knew it.
And now a big 3rd down and 10. They're in the huddle a long time. Play clock at 5. They don't want to burn a timeout here. They've already used one, and now they use another. And down by 11 in the 4th quarter, that leaves them with 1.
Second team timeout.
That happens a lot when you have a big play down the field and you have to get back. They use too much time.
They gave out 30,000 of those foam fingers. Part of the release of the DVD X-Men Origin Wolverine. They'd like a few extra hands on defense right now. 3rd down and 10, Notre Dame. Michigan leads by 11. 13 minutes to go and only 1 timeout left now for the Irish. Clausen, only a 4-man rush. Steps up and throws for a first down. Michael Floyd out to the 44. They didn't come after Clausen, and they paid the price. 14-yard gain.
And they dropped everybody back in the zone. And Clausen, because he's not getting the pressure, he's able to look down the field. See, and now he just waits for Floyd to come across, and boom, ooh, he was met there. But a nice job of Clausen finding the receiver and banging out, getting it done.
6 catches, 119 yards for Floyd, his second straight 100-yard-plus receiving game to open the year. Slant, another first down. Floyd again to the 43-yard line. Clausen had Floyd, Tate, and Kyle Rudolph, the tight end, out to his house this June for a week in Southern California.
They're going to get to the line of scrimmage here,
passing drills. They are coming up quickly now. Charlie Weiss wants them to hurry up. But they spent a week this summer working on timing. They all say they think it's really paid off in game situations. They've certainly been crisp in the first 2. Whoa! That time Floyd didn't see it coming. And it was Sissoko who couldn't handle the fastball from Clausen.
Yeah, he didn't see it coming either. Hit him right in the old breadbasket. That should have been a pick. Could have been going the other way. Clausen sees it. He knows what he has. Look at that. Boom. He had Mouton coming from the inside out, and so he just pulls up. That you can't do. You turn into a defender right there. But Sissoko was not expecting it. Bounced off his chest.
Sissoko had an interception last week against Western Michigan, first of his career. He's a sophomore from Detroit. Again, the play clock running down. Wonder if Clausen's aware of it. 1 second, they didn't get it off, and the flag is thrown.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Well, he's way too experienced now. 3-year starter beginning his junior year to have stuff like that happen.
And that means, the play's got to get in faster too. That's coming from the sideline, and Charlie's calling those plays, which is
I agree, but they were milling around.
That happens sometimes.
Yes, it does.
They probably start thinking about all kinds of things up here.
Can't wait till this week's edition of Milling Around. 2nd and 15. Say this, with this new construction, it is noticeably louder at the big house. Clausen throws, caught, short of a first down, but they get a lot of yardage back to the 38-yard line. 10-yard gain on the completion to Tate. 6 more needed for a first down.
Tate just makes sure he gets a foot in bounds, and then he's out of bounds. But what you're seeing right now is what we said at the very start of this game. There's a distinct advantage with this Notre Dame offensive line, not only in size, but they have protected extremely well. Absent a blitz, they have not gotten there at all.
That's why I'm a little surprised, especially the 2-score lead. They don't take a chance or two and blitz Clausen. They've been effective with those well-timed blitzes. Now the toss. Armando Allen pulled down with a first down at the 32-yard line. Good block by the tight end, Kyle Rudolph, to help lead the way for the junior running back.
Sean, I think now is the time you'll see a couple more blitzes coming because the field is shortened. And so you give your corners a chance to be able, they don't have to run 60 yards or get caught in space. With the field shortened like this, you can take a couple chances.
Clausen under 11 and a half to go. Deep down the far sideline. Caught! Touchdown and then dropped, says the back official. Golden Tate again couldn't hang on. And the Irish fans can't believe it. Everybody in the stadium thought that was a touchdown, but Tate's had a couple of key drops.
He has to have some control, and Sissoko does a good job of getting his hand on it as you see his mouthpiece come out at the end. Watch it. He's pulling it down. Now he has to have some kind of control, and he loses it as soon as he hits the ground. Heck, he couldn't hold on to the ball, and he couldn't hold on to the mouthpiece.
It's been an excruciating day for Notre Dame. One touchdown call back after replay review. A 72-yard pass play wiped out by a penalty. Clausen, a low throw. Shaquille Evans, highly recruited freshman out of Southern California. Another player from the Los Angeles area, about 2 yards shy of the first down. Another big third down from the 24.
Now they have Michigan has not had an answer for these wideouts all day. And they've tried to bring some pressure, and they've had a little success when they could bring people up inside, blitzing that A gap, but they cannot hold up on the perimeter. 3rd and 2, perhaps 4 down territory.
as a freshman kicker particularly effective. Armando Allen turns the corner, and it looked like he got it. No, based on where they're spotting it, I don't think he did get it. Look at that spot. And now what will Charlie Weiss do? He is a freshman kicker, but he is down by 2 scores. A field goal gets him within a touchdown of a 2-point conversion, but he's sending Clausen back out.
He's going to say, my offensive line is better than your defensive front. I'm enjoying a big physical advantage, and we're going to prove it right here.
Game 2, but a big play perhaps for the season for Notre Dame in Michigan. 4th and 1, Clausen, first down.
Clausen kept the ball. First down, Notre Dame.
Ball will be spotted just shy of the 20. Holly?
Well, guys, Charlie Weiss took a chance there, but maybe not too big of a chance. He walked right over to the chains. He eyeballed it himself. He was like, all right, we got this.
And he was right.
He goes for 4th down a lot. Of course, one of his mentors, Bill Parcells, well known for 4th down gambles during his NFL coaching career. Under 10 minutes to go. Low snap handled by Clausen. Again, single coverage. Again, a catch. Golden Tate, touchdown. He held on. He got away from Sissoko and scored.
I like the fact that they came back right away and went right back to Tate. Dropped a couple, but then he's going to put the ball right back in his hands. Let your playmakers make a play, and he did that. And now they're going to go for 2.
And try to make it a field goal game. Put themselves in a situation where they could tie it with a field goal. An impressive 80-yard drive, 14 plays.
I'm Greg Robinson. I'm bringing some heat right now, and I'm going to walk my guys up tight. Got a matchup right down here. Here is nice with Floyd. See if they try to go to him. He's one-on-one outside. He has Golden Tate up top with a lot of room to the outside.
They send the 3 receivers to the right as Floyd went in motion. Under duress, Clausen has to get rid of it, and it's incomplete. Actually picked off by Stevie Brown. He might have been out of bounds when he caught it, but it doesn't matter. The 2-point try fails, and now it's a 5-point game with 9:46 to go. Well, a second chance is golden for Tate and Notre Dame. Only one will get it. Notre Dame's now within 5 after the touchdown on the field. 2-point try. Nick Tausch kicks off. Martavius Odoms tripped up. He made it to the 29. Mike Anello, special team star for Notre Dame, made the tackle. And here's Michigan trying to protect the 5-point lead. They come out slinging, and Forcier on the money to Daryl Stoneham for a 9-yard gain. Sean McNeil had the coverage. Stoneham a little bit slow to get up.
I know you're talking about Texas for your player of the week down there with Tebow, and of course he had himself a heck of a game, but this kid right here, Forcier, you're going to have to look at too. He's doing some stuff you don't normally do.
Well, they were dreadful on offense last year, Matt, and one reason why they had a historically horrible season, worst in school history here in Michigan. But if you're going to run this offense, you need to have that dual threat quarterback with the skills to do it. Forcier played the spread offense in high school. He got here in January after he graduated from high school a semester early. He was born to do this.
You know, you can have all the coaching and tutoring and all, you can have all that you want, and you get out in the middle of the game, and you either have it or you don't have it, and it's visceral, and it comes right from the gut, and Forcier is showing that he's got that.
See if he pays attention to the play clock here. Now they help Stoneham off the field and stop the clock. Well, he can take it down to about 9 minutes, and I think Rich Rodriguez is hopping up and down. That might be part of the message. 2nd down and 1.
Safety's coming down.
Trying to stop the run. It's Minor powering for a first down. Catherine Lewis Moore made the tackle. They're out to the 44. Wisely letting the play clock run down. 8.5 minutes as he takes the snap. Steps forward, throws it up for grabs, and got away with it. Threw it in the direction of Greg Matthews, and Darren Walls saw that one coming. And a blow for Michigan with Stoneham out of the game. They were already without Junior Hemingway, out today with an ankle injury after he had 5 catches for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns as a wide receiver last week against Western Michigan. Michigan has not turned it over today. Forcier, one of his few poor decisions today on that last throw that he got away with. Minor taken down at the 42. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Another tackle for Kyle McCarthy, who Charlie Weiss says is going to be a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick. Some team might be all that excited about him. He's going to wind up starting at strong safety in the NFL for 10 years.
Kyle McCarthy has those other things that you just don't teach. He's got a nose for the football. He's always around it. He's smart. He's always directing traffic back there, and he's a good tackler. He's a sure tackler.
8 minutes to go. Big 3rd down and 11. Forcier intercepted, and it's Kyle McCarthy. Weaving all over the field. They can't get him down, and finally he's tackled from behind at the 36-yard line by Greg Matthews. 20-yard return.
This is just a case of McCarthy just sitting back there in his zone and reading everything sitting in front of him. And it looked to me like the receiver never really saw the ball. You're going to watch McCarthy sitting right back here, and his eyes are right back inside to Forcier. Forcier is going to be watching back inside to Williams. See, he just missed him. He missed him to Greg Matthews, and of course McCarthy's right there. Just like we said, he's always around the football.
Senior from Youngstown, Ohio, as we mentioned, not highly recruited. In fact, Charlie Weiss joked that he recruited McCarthy himself, one of the few recruits Charlie got when he was basically a one-man recruiting gang. He had just gotten the head coaching job and didn't have a staff.
Well, he hit gold on that one.
I don't know what the reason for the delay is here. The officials conferring along the near sideline. The player injured on the near sideline, and close enough to the boundary that the officials are going to hold it. It's a Michigan player. Well, Greg Robinson summons the defense. Trying to identify for you the injured Michigan player. Big spot here now for this defense. Greg Robinson came from Syracuse. Said he could have sat out a year, collected his money from Syracuse that he had coming to them after the Orange let him go, but he wanted to coach, and he called Rich Rodriguez. He knew that Michigan had an opening. They had let Scott Schaefer, the previous defensive coordinator, go. He knew Rich Rodriguez from their days together in the Big East when Rich Rod was at West Virginia and Greg was at Syracuse. David Moosman, the right guard, who was injured and now further away from the field of play that they can resume play. But Rich Rodriguez very excited to have Greg Robinson, can the veteran defensive coordinator, dial up an effective defense here. Michigan now clinging to the 5-point lead. Notre Dame from the 36 after the first Michigan turnover of the game. Kyle Rudolph down at the 28, 2 yards short of the first down, tackled by Jonas Mouton.
We haven't called Rudolph's name very much today, and it's kind of surprising because that's a guy with all the trouble. I guess what's happening is they're owning the outside versus these corners, so they haven't had to. But when they're starting to play the cover 2 and splitting those safeties, Rudolph should eat the middle of that field up.
3 catches for Rudolph today. Caught 29 last year, the Notre Dame freshman tight end record. 3 receivers. Michigan secondary under siege all day. One-on-one again, and that's way out of bounds. And there is a flag down on the far sideline. Sissoko bumping with Floyd. They were both running out of bounds for a while. The ball was way overthrown. Uncatchable.
There's no foul on the play. The pass was ruled uncatchable.
Nice job by Sissoko, though, knowing that your extra help is the sideline. And so you get him to run out of bounds, and once he's out of bounds, he's got no shot. See, it gets a push, he gets out of bounds, and they're calling it because the ball couldn't have been caught anyway.
3rd down and 2. Again, likely 4-down territory here for Notre Dame. Allen, enough for the 1st down to the 25-yard line. Obiase made the tackle.
And the guy who's quietly turned himself into a pretty good game is that center Eric Olson in there. That's a good player. You know, you watch him on film, and he's a guy who's in control. He's a strong kid. He's very good to the 2nd level, and they've used what he can do today very well.
First year as a center, he was the starting guard last year. Started at left guard. They come after Clausen. They don't get there. Back of the end zone, caught but out of bounds is Michael Floyd, and Sissoko's going to need a shower when this one's over.
Yeah, but he played that well.
We were away. Michael Floyd, sophomore wide receiver, got back on his feet and put a wrap just below his right knee, and he went right up the tunnel to the Notre Dame locker room. It's a big loss for the Irish. He's had his 2nd huge game in a row to start the season. 2nd and 10 Notre Dame, trailing 31-26, 6:22 to go. They're at the Michigan 25. Stay with 3 wide receivers.
Third man.
Clausen throws. It is caught by Shaquille Evans, who just came in for Floyd. He fought for every inch. Jordan Kovacs, the freshman who came into the secondary when Mike Williams, the safety, went down with an injury, held his ground. And another huge 3rd down and 2. Three wide receivers. Armando Allen is the running back. He's had a 100-yard game at 109 rushing.
And a blitz off the edge.
Allen running left. First down. And he's inside the 10. Down near the 8-yard line. Wrestled down by Mike Martin, who was a state championship wrestler in high school. Redford, Michigan. Charlie Weiss recruited him heavily, but he elected to come to his home state university.
The nice play call. They were bringing the corner off the edge to the right side, and they ran away from it, and he was able to get up inside again, get behind that offensive line. Paul Duncan did a nice job there. 118 yards for Armando Allen.
So long they've been waiting for the running game in South Bend. Looks like they have it with an experienced offensive line, and Allen an improved back. He finds the hole and finds the end zone. Touchdown and the lead for Notre Dame.
Got to go for 2 here, Sean. Nice job by Olson, the center. Nice job of the right guard there also. It's just a young kid. The right guard is Trevor Robinson. They got a good push up inside, and then Armando Allen just went ahead and finished it.
They went for 2 at the last touchdown, and the pass play was denied. They're taking advantage of the McCarthy interception to score. Now the 2-point try. 3 receivers to the right. Clausen faking in that direction. Inside handoff. What a call. Beautifully executed. Allen brings it in and then gets called for taunting after he's given them a 3-point lead, but that could be a big penalty.
That was the Boise State Oklahoma play. They go trips to the top side. They're going to fake the throw, and he puts his hand, you know, it's the Statue of Liberty. Watch, he's going to come back. He's going to fake the throw. Watch him stick it around his back right there. See that? That's pretty fancy Dan right there. Nice job blocked. There's good blocking up front right there. Paul Duncan does himself a nice job.
Some good hands by Allen. Wasn't a clean handoff. He bobbled it. It looked like he was going to get called for unsportsmanlike conduct after he scored. Here's the touchdown run.
Yeah, that's a good job by Olson right there. And drafted since 99, USC 66. So the players are there.
Because of the penalty, they kick off from the 15. This really helps Michigan. All they need is a field goal to tie. And they're going to have excellent field position, largely because of the unsportsmanlike conduct call. Martavius Odoms brought it out to the 41. Both teams have rallied from behind today here to take the lead. Now it's Michigan trying to come from behind, and Matthews is chopped down immediately by Darren Walls.
Johnson Notre didn't waste any time. He just brought the blitz, and he's very confident in his matchups outside, because he's going man-to-man, and he's taking shots inside. Last time he did that, Tate Forcier burned him on a 31-yard touchdown run.
Michigan playing without the right guard, Mooseman, who was injured on the last series. Forcier up the middle, first down into Notre Dame territory at the 46. And bear in mind, Michigan's field goal situation a little bit unsettled. Jason Olesnovich won the kicking battle in the preseason, but he's a fifth-year senior with no game action prior to this year. Under 4.5 to go. All 3 timeouts left for the Wolverines. Notre Dame has 1. Forcier throws, caught near sideline. Carlos Brown out of bounds at the 43. Pickup of 3. Torian Smith pushed him out of bounds.
Joseph, that's the second good catch that Brown's had. Remember, early in the game he had one with a big first down.
Looks like they're going to review the last play.
He's under further review.
Ball was wobbling around a little bit as Brown attempted to make the catch along the far sideline.
You're going to see if he has control before he steps out.
I think he did.
I think he did too.
I don't think you can overturn it. Not that it's inconsequential, but it was just a 3-yard gain. He certainly bobbled it for a while, but it looked like he had possession about here. Well, the red is about the foot came down. 3:58 to go as the clock is stopped. And it was a quick review.
We have a catch.
And it is a catch. Confirmed by replay. Charlie Weiss in his role as offensive coordinator over on the bench, huddled with Jimmy Clausen, talking about what they might do when they get back on offense. They don't know what the situation will be when that happens. Missed handoff.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, Forcier had to get on it. He could not connect on the handoff with Carlos Brown. Interesting that Brown is in there and not Brandon Minor, who's their best ball carrier.
Yeah, and that makes you wonder if something's wrong with Minor. Remember last week he didn't play because he had an injury.
He just came back in now, replacing Brown.
Hurt or not, you're going out there, and he's not hurt. I'm just saying.
Lost yardage, it killed time. They're back at the 50. Loss of 8. Forcier on 3rd and 14 has a man wide open, and he fell down. Kevin Koger twisting for the ball.
Threw it to the wrong side. Forcier knows it, and he had good protection. And the guy who afforded that great protection for him was Minor. Brandon Minor had a heck of a block. Man, that's a head snapper. But he throws it to the outside and just out of the arms of Koger.
With nobody in a white shirt near him, Rich Rodriguez thought about it for a while, but with 14 yards to go, he's going to punt, play defense, uses 3 timeouts. That defense hasn't been very effective at stopping Notre Dame today, with the exception of much of the 3rd quarter. And they don't get it off. Delay a game penalty.
Delay a game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Keep in mind, Michael Floyd went into the locker room. So they still like the protection. They still like the running game, but they're going to throw the ball with Clausen, and which means Golden Tate's going to have to come up big for him.
They have depth at wide receiver with Tate, with Kamara. Another flag before the snap.
Number 95 on the defense with contact. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Ian Williams, nose tackle. 8th penalty against Notre Dame. That won't make Charlie Weiss happy. Michigan penalized 6 times. Golden Tate back for the punt from Zoltan Mesko. And he calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 17-yard line. Big. See how Notre Dame plays it here. They've been slinging it all over the field. Clausen 309 yards passing, but now they're in time-killing mode, you would think. And they start out with Armando Allen, and he has a lot of room. Michigan sideline irate. They wanted a holding call that they're not going to get. Jordan Kovacs made the tackle. But it's out to the 29 and a first down for the Fighting Irish.
They wanted it on Kyle Rudolph. It was working on Craig Rowe. And he just held, he latched onto him and kept on going. And they're complaining from the sideline. But Rowe got blocked. You got to get off that block. You cannot. If you're a defensive end outside backer, you cannot let a tight end block you.
Again, you saw Clausen upset with the speed at which the play came in. They have time to get it off here. He wants to milk all of that play clock. Michigan undoubtedly will start using their timeouts. Robert Hughes is the running back. Former halfback, now a fullback. Powerfully built. He goes ahead for a yard. No timeout yet from Michigan. And now here it is. They might add some time. The officials are huddling. Rich Rodriguez wants time back on the clock. It's over. It's been a game of one big play after another, and Rich Rodriguez still upset about a lack of a holding call on Notre Dame's first play of this possession.
So if you're Michigan right now, these next 2 downs are the big ones. Obviously, you've got to be able to get off them, get off the field, and there's the. That's what Rodriguez was complaining about. Now, Craig Rowe is a freshman, and he's going to be a pretty good player. And he's got to be able to lock his arms out, not let that tight end get into him, and get rid of the block. And a good job by Kyle Rudolph of executing the block.
2.5 minutes to go. Darrell Stoneham was injured earlier. Michigan wide receiver. And the 94-yard kickoff return, one of the very many big plays in this game. 2nd and 10. 2 timeouts left for Michigan. Notre Dame leading by 3 with the ball at their own 29. Clausen going deep, one-on-one coverage, and beautifully defended by Warren. And how about that play call for Notre Dame in a run out the clock mode? They've been hitting that deep ball with regularity and trying to put the game away with one big punch.
And that took some guts right there. And Warren's right there on top of the coverage on Golden Tate. Ooh, little arm around him there. May have gotten away with one.
Yeah, they both have an arm around each other.
Big 3rd down right here, but that incomplete pass stops the clock.
A break for Michigan. They have to hang on to one of their timeouts, at least for the time being.
Big 3rd down. Possible screen right here.
Play clock all the way down to 2. They bring everybody. Clausen throws, and it caught Shaquille Evans by surprise. Michael Floyd not on the field with the injury. Evans in for him. They have the great timing with Floyd, all that extra time spent this summer, but Michael has not returned since injuring his knee.
Well, you can see that this ball is coming out, and the reasons, and Sissoko was beat. He was beaten on the comeback, but credit Greg Robinson right here, their defensive coordinator for Michigan, calculated, he brought the heat and forced the throw, and now they live for another down.
And Michigan says thank you very much for those 2 pass plays, Notre Dame. It stopped the clock, leaving the Wolverines now with plenty of time. 2:19 and 2 timeouts left, needing only a field goal to force a possible overtime. Short punt by Eric Moss, and great field position for the Wolverines. 43-yard line. We'll take a look at our X Factor, brought to you by the DVD X-Men Origins Wolverine. And Forcier, clearly the X factor today, both with his passing and running ability.
And he's not done yet. And he's had himself just a heck of a football game. And now he has the game in the balance with 2:13 to go. You've got your couple timeouts left. Now work your magic. He's been magical all day long.
Forcier grew up in Southern California, Michigan fan. His dad is originally from Michigan. Forcier over the middle, caught. Greg Matthews near the first down marker. Looks like he's going to be just shy at the 48-yard line of Notre Dame, and the clock runs under 2 minutes to go. Forcier poised. He's a true freshman in his second college game. They have plenty of time. Minute 40. 2 timeouts. Minor gets the first down. They'll stop the clock for a moment to move the chains. They're at the Notre Dame 42. Oldest Novich, the 5th-year senior, walk-on. Said he came back in part for a 5th year because he knows Rich Rodriguez was once a walk-on himself at West Virginia and gives walk-ons a chance. Forcier under duress and bang down. Huge loss back at the 47-yard line. John Ryan is there for the Irish, the senior from Westlake, Ohio, near Cleveland.
He avoided the first one, but Ryan just came flying through.
And Michigan forced to use one of its remaining timeouts. Each team with 1 timeout left. With 1:17 to go, Notre Dame leading by 3, and 2nd and 15 upcoming for Rich Rodriguez and the Wolverines. Well, this has been like a car race in some ways today, Matt, with these two teams drafting past each other back and forth all day long. Right now it's Notre Dame in possession of a tenuous lead in one of the biggest games of Charlie Weiss's coaching career. Second and 15. Forcier on the run, completes it, and run after the catch for Tay Odoms. And he's in bounds, so the clock runs. That sideline wanted to get out of bounds. He's at the 36.
The mistake. He needed to get out of bounds. He wasn't aware of exactly where he was.
Oldest Novich, in his first career game last week, kicked a 44-yarder. 3rd down and 4 here. Forcier over the middle. Is it caught? Yes, say the officials. Rashawn McNeil was all over Martavius Odoms, but it's a catch to the 29. From here, a 46-yard field goal. If it gets to that, they're within Oldest Novich's range.
That is a great catch by Martavius Odoms. And the ball's thrown exactly where it has to be. The coverage is all over the top of him, but he goes down and gets it.
40 seconds to go. 1st and 10, Michigan down by 3. They inch closer.
Give me the ball.
Laterial Savoy, his first catch of the day. They're depleted at wide receiver, so it's Savoy with the catch. Darren Walls the coverage. 30 seconds to go. And a timeout has been called.
Ooh, by Michigan, their last one. That surprises me. That surprises me. Now he's going to have to throw. If he's going to throw and it's complete, they're going to have what, say 20 seconds to get everybody in, which is enough time. That's more than enough time.
Down. Right now,
unless
they have time
kill
with
it.
30 seconds. The clock will stop to move the chains if they get a first down. Of course, it'll stop on an incomplete pass.
If he does throw and it's incomplete, now it's his second. Second and what, 3?
Yeah, long 3, just about 4. And from here, it would also be about a 39-yard field goal, which is within Oldest Novich's range.
This is when it's fun when you're a player. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. You got a packed house, you got a big game, a big rivalry. You're going up and down the field. This is what it's all about. This is what football's all about.
And a very important auto race coming up next. 2nd and 4. Would you take a shot at the end zone and try to win it with the ball at the 22? Forcier looks like he wants to run. Forcier throws on the run. Caught inside the 5. Lateral Savoy out of bounds with 22 seconds to go.
This kid, I don't know what else to say. He's done everything and more. He is the real deal.
1st and goal, and now Michigan poised to win it, but without a timeout. And the time tenuous if you get tackled in the field of play.
Going to the end zone.
Forcier. He's running. He's in trouble. He's still on his feet. Now he throws. Dropped in the end zone by Savoy.
Watch the creating. Inside by Forcier, trying to find it. He does find him. And that looked like it was tipped. It was tipped by Darren Walls. But boy, this kid's unbelievable. Second and goal, you can still get, in 16 seconds, you can still get all 3 downs.
With the injuries at wide receiver, Savoy, a 5th-year senior, long-time backup in there at crunch time. Notre Dame brings the blitz. Forcier throws, caught, touchdown, Greg Matthews. Now an important extra point. It's a 4-point game. Has Olis Novich knocked it through. Now a field goal does Notre Dame no good.
Well, there's a lot of components that goes into this, the least of which is Forcier, but I want you to, first of all, watch the protection. A nice job in protecting. They're going to bring the blitz. You see it 1-2. Here they come. He steps and throws, and up top, Williams. What a great move. He goes on Darren Walls. Well, look at right here. Inside. Walls jumps inside, and then Matthews comes back and makes a big play. Remember, at the start of this game, we said that Greg Matthews had to come up and be one of our impact players, and he absolutely was. And Rodriguez was the first one who knew.
Well, he was very sure they didn't get a costly celebration penalty. Unsportsmanlike conduct penalty hurt Notre Dame earlier after a score. Matthews, as Rich Rodriguez said, he's our veteran, a senior from Orlando. 5 catches today. 68 yards and the biggest touchdown of his career. Forcier on the drive, 6 out of 7. He took him 57 yards in 9 plays in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. There's a new star in college football. He's a second-game true freshman, Tate Forcier.
You better believe it. And we're picking a player of the game. It's that boy right there. Tate Forcier did everything you could ever ask of a quarterback at any level.
Squib kick. They wanted the speedy Riddick to have a chance to return it in Notre Dame, but he couldn't handle it. It'll come out to the 20, 10 seconds to go. A timeout for Notre Dame. And Clausen saying, wait a minute, 1 second should not have come off the clock. They've been throwing the ball deep against Michigan secondary that's been shaky from time to time today. But you'd have to think Greg Robinson, this will be the all-time prevent defense right here.
With 11 seconds to go, you let him throw it in front of you, you're not getting beat deep.
A little over a week ago, this was a program allegedly in turmoil here in Ann Arbor. They're seconds away now from perhaps a program-changing victory. 9 seconds the time on the clock.
How'd that happen? Should be 11 up there.
Three receivers right, one to the left. Clausen throws to the left. It's Golden Tate looking for blocks. Time running out. And that time that came off the clock is key as the clock runs out as Tate hits the ground. One Tate knocked down, the other Tate, Forcier, embraced by his coach.
My only question is, how did it go from 11 seconds to 9 seconds?
Well, perhaps they're saying Notre Dame touched that ball as it was squibbed down the field on the kickoff. Charlie Weiss sending his assistants after the officials. With two bad knees, he can't run after them. He's had one knee replaced in the offseason. He needs another one replaced, and will have it done in February. Of course, it was last year in the game at home against Michigan when he got run over on the sideline.
Tate Forcier, you're 100% right. Holly, what do you have?
Well, I'm with Tate Forcier. You said that you don't get nervous. How nervous were you with 22 seconds left trying to win the game?
Not at all. Not at all. I don't get nervous. They gave me just enough time. You know, I let my guys make the play, and Greg made one hell of a play.
Tell me a little bit. Earlier in this game, you had that big run for a touchdown on 4th down. What were you thinking on that play?
You know, I saw cover 0, and I knew once I beat the first line, you know, I knew I was gone.
You also had to kick in this game. You did a little bit of everything. How did you keep your composure?
You know, I've been preparing for this my whole life, you know, and it was like nothing new to me.
You probably imagined this as a little boy growing up. How does that compare with how this moment feels for you now?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, I'm speechless.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And as we found out yesterday in visiting with Tate Forcier, it's unusual for him to be speechless. Among his many talents, he can talk. He's the toast of the town tonight. Final score, 38-34, Michigan over Notre Dame.